We may not have the answers to life, the universe, and everything, but we do have most answers to your questions on all things mobile technology. Thus, we're going to do our best to answer those questions on episode 042 of the Pocket Now Weekly, the once-a-week podcast from PocketNow.com where we discuss smartphones, tablets, and the state of mobile technology in 2013. I'm your host, Michael Fisher, editorial director at Pocket Now, and I'm joined today by our editor-in-chief, Brandon Miniman. Good morning to you.
Hello, Governor.
Whoa, that piqued my levels. That was nice. Good morning, Brandon. Wow, I needed that jump start. Thank you. And senior editor Taylor Martin, once again, sir. Welcome back.
Sup?
Yes. Gentlemen, we have a lot to get into. Brandon has a hard stop because we are all busy men. I'm going to look at the outline very quickly, and I think the very first thing that we have on the rundown are some announcements. So let's get those out of the way. My first note for myself in the announcements is we have so much Galaxy S4 coverage. If you haven't looked at Pocket Now in the past couple of days, we just are continuing to basically flood the feed with coverage on Samsung's latest smartphone, which makes a lot of sense because it's the most important phone they're probably going to release this year. That's arguable, but yeah, well, maybe, right. But at any rate, we are doing our best to give you as much coverage on every possible feature and every possible angle. So I just uploaded a bunch of that, and I think are we winding down on the Galaxy S4, guys? Because I tried. Brandon, was it yesterday that I sent you an email and I was like, "Who's getting this phone next?" Because I'm tired of seeing it.
Yeah, and I can't believe you actually said that. We're winding down. We're winding down before we wind up. I think Tony is going to be receiving the octa-core version.
Yes.
From Michael, and he's got some other stuff planned.
Tony has other coverage planned?
He does.
Good. That is good news. We are. I've still got other stuff to do, and I want to make it clear that my fatigue at the mere sight of the Galaxy S4 does not affect how accurately I can report on it.
Sure, it doesn't.
You know how it is when it's like you're responsible for the flagship review, and you're like after like 13 days or however long it's been, you're just like, get out of my face. I don't want to look at you anymore.
It's a lot of pressure. So what are you using now, Michael?
I am for a daily driver. I mean, yeah. I'm still using the 4, but when I am through, I am going to go back to the 1 because I'm not yet through assimilating that experience. And I took the 1 to a party recently, a house party, and I took a bunch of photos. And the gallery, everyone's like, "Oh, send me your pictures." And I'm like, "Okay." And I used the is that house party music? I used the HTC Share and the what is it? What I did an article on it. What's it called?
Video highlight.
Yeah. I used video highlights to capture the party. Did you see that? Did you like it?
Yeah, I saw your video highlight on Facebook. I mean, you weren't fooling me. I mean, I think some of your friends thought you painstakingly put together, of images and so forth.
I gave all credit to HTC.
While we were at the party, oh my gosh, he's amazing.
God, he's incredible. No, so I'm looking forward to going back to the 1 as my daily driver for a little bit to kind of extract more juice from that. I'm also looking forward to spending a little more time with my Lumia 920, which I just compared with the Galaxy S4. So. There's a couple phones I'm looking forward to having a look at, and I think we're kind of due for an after the buzz on the BlackBerry Z10, right?
Oh boy.
Yeah, so there's...
Man, that thing's still around?
Yes, which is why we need to do an after the buzz on it, right? Because everyone's forgotten it exists. Nobody's forgotten the Q10 exists, by the way. We're still trying to grab our review unit there. But I have one more announcement before we get off Galaxy S4 stuff for a second. Go to Brandon's thought thread. We are announcing a new feature, and the announcement post will go up shortly after the podcast post does today, so you should see it already by the time you listen to this. We're announcing a new series, and this was an idea of mine that came to me in the shower, and all good ideas come to me in the shower. And I don't know why that is, but it is the truth. I was thinking, why isn't there a way for us to get readers closer to the review experience? Because, we're always reviewing these devices, and we do our best to make videos that let you know how it feels to hold the device, and et cetera, to write thousand word reviews that describe every aspect of the device. But don't you just want to sit there and ask us questions sometimes? I feel like when I used to read phone reviews before I was in the industry, I used to just like shout at the screen. I was like, yeah, but what about this? You know? So I don't think I'm alone in that. So we did a little dry run of this on last week's episode of the Pocket Now Live. And this is going to be called the Pocket Now You Review. It is a Hangout-based show. Readers will be invited to submit their questions ahead of time. We're going to vet them a little bit, screen them, so we get an idea of the format of the show. I will be hosting it, or co-hosting it, depending on who has the hot review device of the month. We think this is going to be basically a monthly show, but possibly bi-weekly if we get enough review devices in. And basically, readers, you just get to ask anything you want about the device. You want me to run a benchmark on the air? Fine. You know, you want to know how the volume keys feel? You're fine.
How does it stand up against a hammer?
yeah, pretty much anything. Almost anything about the device. Like, I'm not going to drop it into, like, you know, a bucket of yogurt or anything
Does
like that.
it float?
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, with those mild exceptions out of the way, we'll have more details on the post. But that's going to be the Pocket Now You review, and I'm very, very excited about it. And I don't think we've scheduled it yet. But Brandon, you're busy, and I think I asked Taylor about this yesterday. Taylor, you want to be my co-host on episode 1 there, or one of them?
Yeah, I responded to you over my P.F. Chang's last night.
Good. Oh, yes. Yes.
It was delicious, by the way.
Yes. And Brandon, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say the word that and stop.
Oh, good. Good. Oh, well, then welcome to being on a podcast with Taylor Martin.
Yes. There were a lot of comments last week about how I cut everyone off and that we were hostile again.
Oh, were there hostile comments again?
Yeah, apparently.
Oh, good.
Well, no, that we were hostile towards one another because we can't have a civil debate.
Right. Taylor and I don't like each other.
Yeah, we hate it.
Yeah. So, without further ado, the announcements are out of the way. Brandon Miniman, it's been a while since we've had a thought thread from you, sir. Kick it off for us. Let's see what 42 can get started to be.
I can't believe we're at 42 podcasts.
I know.
That is a lot of talking. A lot of what rhymes with talking?
Squawking.
A lot of talking and a lot of squawking. So I want to talk about. I hope you guys have seen this, and if you haven't seen this, you need to open your web browser and look at it. The HTC M4 was leaked in full glory this morning. Yes.
I have not seen that. I am loading it right now. Oh.
Check it out on the source of the story is Phone Arena, and they've got a kind of a higher resolution shot of this. And what the M4 is, it's a smaller HTC One, and it literally is a miniaturized HTC One. But the cool thing about this phone is that this is the phone we've been talking about, or at least I've been fantasizing about for a long time. It's that 4.3-inch smaller form factor with a 720p display, so you're not going to see pixels, and it doesn't look like it's going to be underpowered. Like I believe the HTC First to be kind of underpowered with only 1 gigabyte of RAM and with a Qualcomm Snapdragon 400. I think this thing's probably going to have a 600, and it's going to have 2 gigs of RAM. The problem. Well, first of all, are you guys looking at it?
Yeah, I'm taking a look at it right now, and yeah. It looks like a tiny one.
It's a One Mini.
Yeah, it looks like a one. It appears to the flash seems to interrupt the line between the lens and the top line polycarbonate on the back, so there's no G-string. But like aside from that, it looks identical on the back.
Good eye, Fisher. No G-string.
Thank you. The eye gravity.
I would miss the G-string. I'm not gonna lie.
Really?
Yeah. Several people have actually said, like, look at that phone. Oh, look at that line. But that's nice.
Oh, that's nice.
So I'm sorry, Brandon. Continue with your thoughts on this.
Sorry, I thought Cleveland Brown was here for a second.
We have frequent guest Cleveland Brown on the podcast.
Yeah. He's. I keep him in my office sometimes.
Oh man. So I was looking at the M4. First of all, thinking about what this thing's going to be called, because it's got to have the One branding, and they've already taken the 1S. They're not going to do the 1S2. They're not going to call it the HTC One Mini, because that's Samsung's thing. And then my other thought was, this thing looks too similar to the HTC One, and it's going to be a little upsetting because you're going to be out and about, and people are going to be like, "Yo, dude, is that a One?" And you're going to be like, "No, it's the One Mini," or whatever the heck it's going to be called. But that's exactly what HTC wants. This product is so different, and it represents a whole host of features with boom sound and a great screen and thin form factor and metal. metal design, that HTC wants to connect all of these products together. And we were talking about this on Pocket Now Live, how they're probably going to do a tablet based on all of this stuff.
Sure.
And so, like, the only thing that makes this phone different than the one aesthetically, besides the size, which from across the room might not even be perceptible, is the speakers. They kind of stop. They're not as wide. You guys notice that?
Yeah, they've got like a rounded corner to the machined drill pattern up top there and bottom. Yeah.
They don't reach to the outsides of the buttons like the one does. I'm holding it right now and looking at it. So I do think they could go with like a fraction or a decimal, the HTC 0.875 or something.
The HTC 1/2.
Yes.
That's what they should call it.
or just half one or something.
HTC half one. That's interesting.
Yeah. There's also another difference. I do not see in this render that I'm looking at from Phone Arena, I do not see too much of a chamfered edge on the edges here. It is possible they've done away with that.
It's tough to tell from this angle.
Yeah.
On the 1/2.
I don't know. The one thing that I really actually don't like about the one is the trim around the outsides, and I think it's just because it's the white model. It's kind of turned brownish and
what?
Yeah, it was brown when I took it out of the box.
Are you pooping on your phone? How's it turn brown?
No, it's like an off-white now. It was like that when I pulled it out of the box.
Hold on, what trim? What trim? What are you talking about?
Oh, the
around
plastic.
The plastic around the edges. It's like discolored.
That's interesting. What are you comparing it to? Like the eggshell white or like?
Well, I mean, I guess I could because my desk is eggshell white. But it's noticeably brown.
Well, the one that you have, Taylor, is the one that I started off with, and it's been to hell and back. And
yeah, I know.
That phone has suffered some abuse, man.
Yeah, you did a live unboxing on the podcast, and you saw the dent, and you were like, "What's wrong with this guy?"
Wasn't that last week?
Yes.
Yeah. The live unboxing on the. Yeah.
I wish I was there so I could explain why there was a dent in the back of the one, which I can't even do today because I don't think I did it. I think Taylor did it.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember hearing him unbox it right on the air and being like, "Oh my God, there's a dent in the Brandon. What did you do with this? Do to this thing?" So
Tony ruined it for me.
Oh,
I can't remember what it was. We were on I think it was Pocket Now Live, and he's like, "I'm going to spoil this for you, Taylor. The one you're getting has a big dent in the back."
Oh yeah, and I confided in Tony. I showed him over closed circuit video the dent, and I was hoping he wouldn't reveal it. But anyway.
So yeah, the M4. I don't want to lose the M4 for too long here. I think this is Brandon. I think you're right. I mean, this is a very cool way of preserving, a visual identity at a mid-tier price point. I think the question becomes though, is it going to do anything? Is it going to do the desired? Is it going to achieve the desired result? Because HTC is really good at releasing mid-range phones that look really awesome, like that 8S, which I think looks amazing. With its dual tone finish, and mid-range phones from other manufacturers are often pretty cool, even compared to the high-end ones. So, like, what are we thinking? This is gonna, is this finally gonna break that trend of, oh, it looks awesome, and then nobody cares?
I really think that they're doing so on one hand they could be releasing, like you said, Michael, a product that is it looks really nice, it looks like the high-end version, but for various reasons it's actually a lower end mid-range phone, and it's made for people that are on a budget and emerging markets. But I really feel like this product is going to be as good as the HTC One but smaller. It's not going to be a mid-range phone just because it has a smaller screen. HTC is still putting out the Desire for emerging markets, and I think that they're going to go with the one branding for the premium and the Desire for everything else. And I think we're going to see some Desires come out that are $99 or $59, $49 phones. But I don't think this is it. I really don't think it is.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they can really market it as a mid-range phone, and that's kind of the I guess I don't know what you would call it. The mindset that we need to get out of.
Yeah.
That anything lower than 4.7 inches is mid-range, and it's not. I wrote an article last week, I think, that no Android phone below a certain range or certain size is considered high end, and then the iPhone is only 4 inches. So you've got this gap where, like, people with mid-sized to smaller hands, hate to put it in that term, but people with smaller hands really don't get any love from Android, and people with bigger hands don't get love from Apple. So it's kind of this gray area that nobody really wants to touch anymore.
No man's land in there.
So,
yeah.
But what does that mean? Like, I totally agree that suddenly a lower size screen phone becomes mid-range. But what really, to me, says mid-range is when they compromise on the internals. So, and this little guy I think is going to have 2 gigs of RAM. I guess it comes down to the processor. It doesn't really need a quad-core Snapdragon 600 because the screen resolution is at 1920 by 1080. I mean, it could get by with a 400.
But we haven't seen Blink Feed, and we haven't seen like the new version of Sense running on
a dual core.
Yeah, so I'm very concerned about that because we know HTC does not have a great reputation for making lightweight skins that run really fluidly. They just don't.
Honestly, it might be fine with a Snapdragon 400, and I know you said that made the HTC First kind of mid-range, Brandon, but I mean, I used the First, and seriously, it was like a half second, not even a half second behind the Nexus 4 in everything we did with it, everything. Yeah. It's not...
And we're going to talk about the First in a little bit, too, because I want to hear more about that, because I had a little experience and a little retail experience to myself.
Oh, you get? I tried to do that this weekend, but the store was closed. I wanted to fondle an HTC First, but you fondled one, huh?
I did.
Hey.
I did.
breaking, I guess.
What's up?
Optimus G Pro, AT&T.
What? Oh, is this? Oh, it's May 1st. Oh, it's the morning of, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the LG is having an event right now in New York City, I think, and we could not attend. We are busy with a bunch of other stuff, but we are sad about that. I don't know. What do we feel about that? I am.
I've already reviewed it.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. Like we had so much time with the Optimus G that was the South Korean version, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had so much time with that unit that we decided not to make the trip for this event. So it's sad. We were invited by LG. There's nothing wrong between us. We just didn't go. So it's happening at this very moment, huh?
Yeah. I just got an email saying it was announced. It's officially official now.
Cool. Oh, there's my email to you.
It's $199.
Is there anything about it that's like?
Yeah, that's the question. What's different? Is it cool?
I'm looking. I think it's got exactly the same everything.
1.7 gigahertz quad core, 2 gigs RAM, 5.5 inch screen.
Yeah. It's all the same. It might not have like 25 gigabytes of bloatware, but other than that,
right? Big old system image.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's
cool.
And
an antenna. I'm sure it doesn't have that either.
No. Yeah, it doesn't have the antenna. I wonder what they use that space for when they take out that
the
TV band antenna.
The rumor was it was going to have a stylus.
Oh, see, that would make sense, but it probably doesn't, right?
I'm looking at a press image. It looks like it's just rounded off. It looks different. It looks really nice, actually. But
does it have swagger?
Maybe a little bit. Black phone with a blue LED notification light button.
All right, you've piqued my interest.
Yeah, let's stop talking about this phone because
Okay. I'm down with that because I know that its looks are deceiving. It feels like.
I can't even find the image.
McDonald's.
I can't find the image. Taylor, what are you doing here?
Oh, gosh. Do you guys not get emails?
Oh, att.com/OptimusGPro. There it is.
Oh, snap.
Except that redirects me to just a generic landing page. Awesome.
Oh, boy.
Awesome.
This isn't going the way we thought it would.
I don't want to. I am now fully disenfranchised with this. So.
There. I just emailed you guys.
Did you?
Yeah.
Why don't you just use the Skype chat?
Because I tried and I couldn't.
All right, I haven't gotten your email, so let's let's move on.
They were direct downloads. That's why.
All right, once they come in, let's talk about it. Let's move on, please. Final thoughts on the M4. I think all three of us are excited, and we're curious to see whether this breaks the pattern. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not for my personal use. My hands are too big.
You know what? For my personal use, it might work out nicely, but I don't think so because I think the One does it for me. But let's talk a little about the One. I changed up the rundown a little bit, guys. You might want to refresh your screen because since we were talking about the One and its new little sibling, I wanted to ask Taylor Martin about his experience making probably the most difficult comparison video you've made at Pocket Now because of some technical difficulties.
Oh my gosh! So, I spent probably a total of 12 or more hours on this, probably more than that.
All the while IMing me for help, and I'm sitting here with my own comparison, like I'm just like pulling my hair out, making other videos. I'm like, Taylor, I absolutely can't help right now. I'm so sorry.
The extent of my help was just a shoulder to weep on. That was it.
Well, then you're welcome. So Taylor compared the One's camera performance both before and after a software update, or was it just a camera firmware update? Set the stage for us, Taylor.
It was a little bit of everything. There were some bug fixes from what I've told. I haven't really noticed any performance increases or anything. It was a general update, so making everything a little bit better.
And what did you find?
But the primary focus was the camera, improving that. And one of the biggest things that they changed was the tendency to overexpose in non-HDR photos.
So that means, for people that don't know what that means.
Yeah, okay, so if you're taking a picture of, say, a field or anything that includes maybe the sky or something really white, or close to white, I guess I should say, if you take that picture before the update, that white will be just, bam, blown out white, no detail. So if you're taking a picture of a field and there are clouds, it's going to be solid white, like there are no clouds, and it looks kind of strange. Mm-hmm. After the update, if you take that same exact picture, the clouds are visible.
I see.
So what it does is it underexposes the whites, kind of like an HDR mode in normal use, I guess is the best way to explain it.
Does that darken areas of low light too much? Does that like render things in shadow almost black, or what? How's the balance there?
It did darken the non-whites too, so the darker parts of the photo got a little darker, but it was hard to say. It was kind of like I guess true to life was almost exactly between the two. So it's kind of
so they swung a little too far on the scales of photography.
Maybe a little bit.
Okay,
yeah.
But so which one would you prefer? Would you prefer photos to be generally overexposed or underexposed? Taylor, I'm asking you, but Brandon, you can answer too.
I like the update. It works because I can touch up photos and Snapseed. If you've got that detail, if you blow it out to begin with, you don't have the detail. So if you don't blow it out, then you can at least adjust a little bit. So you have a little more to work with. Yeah.
I agree. Speaking of software updates, wouldn't it be cool if one day companies could push hardware updates to your phone?
What you mean, like
ship you a new processor in the mail?
I was just gonna say, like, you wake up and there's a FedEx guy that says, like, "Hey, Mr. Fisher, I got your RAM."
No. Some other, like, if there's some problem on the motherboard, they can I don't know. This is really futuristic, but there's like there's some nano robots inside your phone, and they can be programmed to like solder new connections and swap things. And
okay, so that's way futuristic. But actually, hold on. But there is a thing. Like, if and when 3D printers become so commonplace that they are in every home, I mean, there is that option, right? I mean, so of course, 3D printers can't replicate these like 28 nanometer components, but maybe something else, maybe something a little bit simpler, like something that might plug into, say, a USB port or something. You've put my brain into strange, flexible speculation mode, Brandon. That's interesting.
One way that could actually work is fitting a phone with more specs than what's capable or what's necessary. Turning stuff on. So say you have 4 gigs of RAM, but you don't really need that right now for anything ever. In a year, you might. So you get a software update that would enable the other 2 gigs of RAM or something like that. You could do something to that extent.
There is a good example of that, actually, in the Lumia 920, which I just discovered the other day. I learned something I didn't know. Filming my Lumia 920 versus the Galaxy S4 comparison, I found out that the 920 is actually certified for Bluetooth 4.0. The hardware is capable of supporting it. It's just that it's hobbled by the OS, which Windows Phone 8 does not currently support anything above 3.0 or 3 point something.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Kind of like Pebble did.
Oh, right.
It's got a compass in it and all kinds of things that aren't functioning right now. So,
can I say Pebble's Twitter account is one of my favorite Twitter accounts out there right now? Can I say that?
They're great.
They have so much. I enjoy talking to them. I'm glad we're Twitter friends.
They tweeted my article.
Yeah,
that made me happy.
Yeah. They're really good. I mean, obviously there's some interest in doing that, but they're also really cool to just interact with.
Oh yeah,
what to hang out with on the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes me feel repeatedly and unnaturally irritated that we actually weren't able to attend the Pebble event at CES.
Well, you were missing out because I was sitting there hanging out with the CEO. So whatever. I actually chatted with him for a few minutes, and he's really cool.
How do you
really
pronounce his last name?
Something like that.
Yeah, I thought it was something. Let's talk about the Galaxy S4 just for a couple more minutes because it is still the news of the week. I did a comparison, which you can view on pocketnow.com, comparing the GTI 9500 octa-core variant with the SPH L720 Sprint variant that we've had for a long time. So I actually currently have 3 Galaxy S4 devices in the office right now.
Maybe that's why you're tired of it.
That could well be. I can't turn around without seeing a Galaxy S4. And I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have about the octa-core device. In fact, if you have any, I would like it. But I should mention up front here that I was a little surprised by how different the experience is not. Because that octa-core, and people are going to complain in the comments that I am calling it an octa-core. And yes, I know. As my friend Chris Larson told me, that is not an octa-core processor. It's a weird Frankenstein monster that's not going to do anyone much good.
It's 2 quad cores.
Exactly. It's 2 quad cores kind of glued together.
Yeah.
But that's fine. I think that's a pretty cool idea. You have one Cortex A15 and one A7 or something like that. Or 4 and 4. Go ahead.
It's like tying 2 dirt bikes together and calling it a 4-wheeler.
Yeah,
that's the extent of it.
Right.
That's how ridiculous it is.
Yeah, but one of your dirt bikes is optimized for forest hills, and one is optimized for urban driving, and you just kind of hop between the two in 20 microseconds, which is thank you ARM's website.
I think
Go ahead.
I think it's a reasonable thing to do. I mean, the dual-core and quad-core phones that we have now that we don't make fun of are work in a similar fashion. They only have one core working most of the time, and then they pump up the juice to the other 3 if you're playing a game or something like that. It's just
right. I think that's okay. I think it's a good idea. I mean, I think the beef that people have is that Samsung is characterizing it even right on the box as like octa-core, and really. I don't see the objection. There are 8 cores in this processor.
Fair enough.
I understand that only 4 are going to be active at any given time, but the bottom line is that the end result is an almost identical experience, which, if you look at it from one perspective, is quite an accomplishment. That Samsung has managed to make these 2 devices with completely different guts behave essentially the same. So that's pretty cool.
This has happened before. The quad-core Exynos Galaxy S3 had 1 gig of RAM, and then the US version had the S4 with 2 gigs of RAM.
Right.
And I was very curious because I used the S3 for a while with the quad-core. It was real fast, and the performance was pretty much the same on both. And then you look back at the previous generation, the Galaxy S2, which I believe had the dual-core Exynos, and the US version had what did they have? The Epic.
It wasn't the Hummingbird, was it? Or was that the year before?
No, what the US version would have had. That was before I was paying attention to Samsung's Galaxy line.
So back in the day, there was more of a difference, but now there just isn't.
No, there was. A good example, Brennan, is the HTC One X Global and the One X for AT&T. Which, what was that? Tegra and Snapdragon, respectively, and the Snapdragon just destroyed it in performance. I mean,
the Tegra is the crappiest chip known to man.
Right.
Yeah, but riddle me this: why do you need 4 cores? Why do you need 4 cores for the non-extensive stuff?
You know who asked a question like that? Is a man named Adam Dowd. He was talking about Windows phones. Visit pocketnow.com to read about that. Sorry.
But seriously, why do you need 4 cores for stuff that doesn't need 4 cores? Does that make sense?
You don't. You have them on standby for when you do.
So, but when you do need them, you switch to the more powerful chips. So, why? Well, my question is the idea is that a quad-core processor uses less power when it's not being utilized, I guess. I don't know. I'm not an expert on processors, but it just doesn't make sense to me why you would need a quad-core doing your light work and
I
then
see
switch
what you
to
mean.
a quad-core when you need more heavy. Like,
Right. Well, and I will very quickly get out of my depth here if we talk about this for much longer, so I completely understand that. But I will say this, that whatever the formula is, whatever the recipe is, and I dropped the source link into this article so you can read about it at ARM. It's actually kind of fascinating. It's working very well. The phone runs just as well as the Snapdragon 600 powered device. The lack of LTE on the 9500 is a bit of a shame. And it beats the American device in terms of battery life by a little bit, it looks like. But, it's a solid device. It's definitely not... that annoying fanboy situation arises where if you're really invested in Samsung and you see people complaining about the American version, which kind of got reviewed first, you do that thing where you're like, oh, just wait for the Octa, man. Oh, the Octa's going to solve everything. It's like the people did with the Surface RT and the Surface Pro and et cetera. And it really, I don't think it's as big a deal as everyone has kind of made it out to be in their minds, this octa-core beast.
And then
Go ahead.
There's this whole question about, I think I've been asking it for like 5 years now, like, why are phones getting more and more cores? And there's obvious answers like, well, it's faster, that's good, and power savings is there because you can do some cool stuff with the cores. But, like, going into the future, I don't know much about writing Android apps. I guess you can write Android apps to take advantage of multiple cores. I don't know if that's even possible. It might all happen at the kernel level, and the apps kind of sit on top of that, and it's kind of dictated by the kernel. But like 3 years from now, three years.
I'm sorry. I just want to start a sitcom based on like an old retired military like colonel. Just called "Dictated by the Colonel." I'm sorry.
Wow.
It's too early for me to not laugh at that. I'm sorry. Please continue.
Nice. And I'm wondering if in 3 years from now we're going to be in a situation where app developers are needing that much power. I mean, we're talking about mobile phones here. What could you possibly do on your mobile phone? And this is, of course, the stupid question to ask in the present that we'll hit ourselves for asking in the future.
Right.
What can you possibly do besides gaming on your phone? Have like a 3D interface that spins and turns and like...
What you mean? What can you possibly ask your phone to do? Why would you ask your phone to have this much processing ability?
Yeah, outside of gaming.
Right.
Outside of gaming. Like, at what point can we actually take advantage of this stuff?
That's actually along the lines of what I was going to say. It's actually that from another perspective. Processors are so advanced now that outside of gaming, they're all the same. On a very, I guess, they're not the same. They're going to be different. They're going to perform faster, or they're all built on different structures. But the problem is that they're not problem. But the great thing, I guess, is the way to say that, is that they're all going to perform in day-to-day usage almost identical. You're not going to notice a difference, but whether you're using an octa-core processor, dual-core, quad-core, you're not going to notice that difference until you open up a game and start playing, or something like Brandon's asking.
And it was very interesting to see differences in gameplay on one particular title, my favorite game to reference always, Rise of Glory. Not Sky Defenders, but Sky something else. And it ran with considerably more lag on the quad-core Galaxy S4 than it did on the octa-core Galaxy S4, despite the fact that the quad-core one performed more poorly on the 3D Mark gaming benchmark. So this is when we get into that weird territory of like complete unpredictability, unless you are, frankly, a much bigger geek than myself. And I don't say that in a derogatory sense. It's just this gets to that gray area that I'm still trying to understand. I don't know. Chips are amazing.
I'm blown away that Sky Gamblers is on Android. I didn't know that. Oh my gosh.
Oh, Sky Gamblers, thank you. Yes, it is. Yes, but it runs poorly on the HTC One and the American Galaxy S4. FYI.
That's unfortunate.
It is. It's very unfortunate. I think it might be the 1080p thing, but I'm not sure. What were you going to say, Brandon?
I was going to say bibbity bibbity bop. I was going to say, but the advantage, it seems, that there's a clear advantage in battery life. If only 5% in your test, over the course of a day, that might be 10 or 15%, wouldn't you say?
Yes. I did that interesting kind of reality test. I wanted to see what it would be like if I took two phones out on the street that were prepared exactly properly. Like from the out-of-box situation, I'd installed the same apps, the same home screens, the same accounts. They are identical devices with the notable and annoying exception that one was on AT&T and one was on Sprint. So yes, that throws a bit of a wrench in our comparison, but we didn't have a choice because of the devices we have. And I wanted to see how they performed. If you took them out in public and did exactly the same thing on each one at exactly the same time. So it was weird. For 2 hours I was out there, like every time I sent a tweet, like I had to tweet twice. So I'd tweet from one phone and then I'd tweet from another. And then I'd have a 3-minute phone call on one, and then I'd have to find somebody to call for 3 minutes on the other one. So it was exciting and it was fun, and as a result, I was able to determine that when I came back in, there was 5%. The American one trailed the Octa in terms of battery life consistently by 5% during the whole test period. So I'm not sure if that gulf would have widened. Right now I'm running a video test on the Octa version, or I already did. Those results are already up. The American version video loop test is going to be posted today on that same post. So click that link. Galaxy S4 Octa versus Quad. Lots of cool numbers in there. Lots of geeky talk. It's a good time. Can we move on, gents?
Good time.
Good. You have good time. I wanted to do a little rundown triage here because we're a little bit behind, as always. But just a PSA, the Galaxy S4 doesn't work with old tactiles. Sad face for all 5 of you who use
no
tactiles.
No one uses tactiles. NFC is dead, and that's the end of it.
NFC is not dead, but nobody uses tactiles. You're right.
Have you guys used...
I have like 30 tactiles in my drawer, and I've not used one.
I have many of them, too. I have them stuck around my house, and I don't use them anymore.
I was outside weeding, and a helicopter flew overhead and dropped 5,000 tactiles on my head. So I have so many of them; they're just everywhere.
I hate it when that happens. That's that Pennsylvania National Guard thing, right? Yes. Go ahead.
Yes. No, do you guys use NFC ever?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Michael, you use it for your boombox situation, right?
Yes, and I use it for whenever I'm in the same city as Tony and we want to trade pictures on our Galaxy Notes.
They like to bump phones occasionally.
We do like to bump phones. We like to.
What about you, Taylor?
I use it to transfer pictures between devices.
That's
for
smart.
example, if I'm comparing the displays in a comparison, I'll bump the phones and send a picture over so I have the same picture on both phones. It's just the easiest way to do it.
That's what I want to do. I want a computer with NFC that enables that. I want to be able to bump my phone to my computer and just dump the entire picture library through Wi-Fi Direct or something.
Yep.
But you can do that
Through
without
Wi-Fi
NFC.
File Explorer?
Through AirDroid, Wi-Fi File Explorer, a bunch of different ones.
Right, I know.
Or set up your own FTP.
Yeah, right. But then I'm typing 10.1.10.26:8000 or whatever. Like I don't need that hassle. We got NFC, man. Bump. That's the future.
I mean,
Bumping phone.
ideally, that's what's going to happen because NFC is so cheap. You could just embed it somewhere in the front of the computer and just lay your phone down, and it'll connect. But
Brent?
I don't know. Apple doesn't. For me, Apple doesn't care for NFC apparently. So
because it's
I'm not gonna
stupid.
have
That's
that.
why
Yeah.
they don't do stupid things.
I feel like NFC and like QR codes should get together and go bowling.
They should get together. They should get together and jump off of a.
I was at the Miracle of Science bar the other night, and I was walking away from the place, and we saw a QR code on a bus stop, and like this mutual friend of my girlfriend's and mine just started hating all over QR codes. Like she was like, "These are so stupid. We have to work with these, and they're awful." Anyway, QR codes and NFC. LOL.
My stepdad was at Best Buy the other day looking at a in-car stereo, and he scanned the QR code for it, looking for information, and it really didn't have any information on it. He said maybe a few things, but mainly it had reviews. And he said out of all the reviews it posted, every single one of them said this product sucks, don't buy it.
Wow. Nice backfire.
Well, hey, it sounds like it was very helpful, actually.
It actually sounds like it was helpful to him. Yeah, not to the store, certainly. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's Wow, is that the one QR code success story we've had on the podcast?
There are no others.
Awesome. There are no others out there. Speaking of kind of weird, half-hearted maybe success stories or failure stories, love this headline. Taylor Martin asks, has anyone actually bought an HTC first? We started talking about this device earlier in the show, and I had the opportunity to get some hands-on time at my local AT&T store the other day because I went in there looking for the BlackBerry Q10. They did not have the Q10 because I didn't pay attention to when that thing's going to be released. So, yeah, read up, do your research before you go to your carrier retail store.
What did you think about the first?
What did I think about the first? I thought, I'm walking the store and I see it, and I'm like, oh, the first. Okay, I'm going to go see what the HTC and Facebook are limping to the barn with or whatever.
Did you say this out loud, like at the entrance of the store?
Yeah, somewhere in between my my second, rebuffment of the sales team and my first one. It's like, no, man, I'm just looking around, thank you.
Yeah, geez.
Yeah.
You have to put up your shield so they bounce off.
Yeah, right. And to their credit, they're not very aggressive. But anyway, so I look at the HTC first, and I'm like, okay, whatever. The first thing I noticed was that kind of the backlit home button, the circular home button, is kind of cool. And the second thing I noticed is I pick up the thing, and I picked up the almost blue one. Like, it's not quite white. It's got a little tinge of blue in it. It's like a weird, weird eggshell.
I can't remember what the color is.
Yeah, it's something weird and dumb, right? Like ozone, like high altitude frost, or
I have to look it up now.
Mint whatever. But I pick it up, and I'm like, wow, this is soft. It's rounded. It's a great size. It still doesn't look very good. I got to tell you, I think that's a very ugly phone. I think it looks like a budget iPhone 3G, or excuse me, a budget iPhone 2007.
Pale blue.
Pale blue. Oh, pale blue. Wow, somebody actually named something that makes sense.
So continue.
But it felt great in the hand.
Mm-hmm.
Those rounded corners and the soft back, and it wasn't soft touch, but it was just a softer plastic than I'm used to, and it reminded me, frankly, of my, I'm going to say it, of my Pre-3 or some of the other devices in the Pre-family, where it's like, wow, this was designed to be comfortable to use for an extended period of time, and boy, it played nicely with the software on the screen, too. I thought it was a very cool feeling product in the hand.
How did the thinness feel to you?
I think that I perceived it to be a bit thicker than maybe it is, but I didn't mind, is the point.
Well, yeah, you don't mind thick phones with your...
I don't mind thick phones if they feel good in the hand. I really don't, because go ahead.
Did you jump into the stock Android and say, wow, this is weird?
I hopped into the settings menu and I saw the Holo theme, and I was like, okay, yeah, I don't need to... basically, because I haven't been able to run Facebook Home on any of my devices because I've been too busy, I actually was just happy to play around in the stupid demo version of Facebook Home.
What'd you think?
It's pretty. I agree that it's frustrating that not all my friends take amazing high-def pictures. Yeah. I think that's a very good, solid objection. But as that changes going forward, as we move away from crappy cameras and into decent cameras, I think it stands a pretty good chance of looking good. The question is anybody going to buy them? And I still don't think anybody is.
What I don't understand is that the screens, the pictures people take are pretty high res. I mean, they're uploading pictures of their iPhone 5 are taking and so forth. But Facebook Home does something to make them pixelated. It's really weird.
That and the person manning the camera has to know how to take a decent picture before a picture is going to look nice.
Yeah, good point.
Fortunately, phones are very forgiving, and you don't have to be a professional to get a good shot.
I don't know. Did you see the pictures of some of the things that my friend shared that I included in the review? Like, one apparently sent a picture of her dented car to Facebook, and you can't tell what it is. It's literally a black image with a few white scrapes. You can see there's scratches, and then the rest looks like she sneezed on it. Like, I mean, that's...
Now, is that because of the software, or is that because of her awful picture?
That's because of her awful camera and her awful picture.
Okay. Yeah. What do you think, Taylor? You've had the most hands-on time with this device, and I know it's a little too small for you to use in your daily life, but I know, and I also know I've asked you this on a previous show, but now having handled the device, it's important to me. Do you think anybody's going to buy this thing?
No.
All right.
I mean, I would like this to because it's a better phone than a lot of people make it out to be. I enjoyed it. If it were a tad larger, if it were the size of the One, I might use it because it's a stock Android device, and that's something that I really like.
You want to hear some of the comments on your piece?
I'm afraid to look.
Someone should buy one. It would be a collector's item in a few decades. I bought the HTC first. Said no one ever. Hey. I bought one and immediately removed the Facebook launcher. Now I call it my HTC second. Oh, you jerk. It works great as a wedge to angle my iPhone up 45 degrees, making it easier to read. That's you, sir, got me good.
Yo.
Was that Glenn Quagmire?
No, but I do have Seth MacFarlane voice without meaning to. What, Brandon?
So here's the thing. We started off friends. It was cool. Then it was over.
No, not again. Oh, God.
I'm sorry. No. I was gonna say the HTC first. I like it, but then I think, I wish it had metal construction. I wish it had boom sound. I wish it had HTC Sense 5. And where am I going with this?
You wish it was the One.
You wish it was the M4.
M4. I just described the M4. So I had a spring in my step this morning, more than usual, I guess. And yeah, that's that. I mean, it has. I think it's gonna have the same internals, just more RAM, and the HTC first is the M7, but a little chunkier.
Interesting.
I still like the first.
Yeah,
I do.
I like it a lot better. I think if I would say this to listeners, if you have made it a habit of bashing the first or completely ignoring it, go to your local AT&T retail store and hold one in your hand and see if you feel the same way.
Or just take my word for it.
Or just take Taylor Martin's word for it.
Nothing is worse than going into a cell phone store and you see they have a nice spread of models and you walk up to it and they don't work.
Oh, with the dummy phones with the cardboard screens?
Yeah.
Forget it. If you still do that, I understand if you're a third-party dealer that does it because maybe you don't have the money to have a whole line of demo units, or maybe you're in a high theft area. But yeah, I took my dad shopping at a couple cellular retail locations recently, and out in the boonies, that's all you have is third-party cellular retail locations. I used to work at one, and God, I saw more than my fair share of cardboard-screened POSs. And I'm like, and then the most annoying thing is when you ask about a demo unit, and they actually don't even have one they can show you. Yeah. Where it's like, so I'm supposed to buy this thing sight unseen? Like what? No, take it out of the box.
I worked at Best Buy Mobile, and we would open, generally, if it was a high-end device or something, I mean, if it's a low-end device, we just said, screw it, because they didn't sell that well. But if we had a new high-profile device, we would just open the box as soon as one came in and play with it for a couple days and use it as a demo device.
Yeah, we did that sometimes when we had to improvise. If we didn't get a floor model. Let's talk about that. Taylor, you bring up an interesting point, which will let us segue into Windows Phone here. High-end and low-end devices, and low-end devices not selling terribly well, and things of that nature.
Are you synonymizing Windows Phone with low-end?
I am not.
Mid-range?
I am not. I'm talking about a specific Windows Phone that blew us away and that earned itself a headline with an all-caps yell word in it from Stephen Shank, which I loved. That headline being the Nokia Lumia 521 on T-Mobile is going to be crazy cheap. And I cannot agree more with Stephen's choice of phrasing here. I saw this. This was in an email thread I think Adam Lane shared with us before this story went up. The Lumia 521 is a T-Mobile variant of the 520 we saw at Barcelona, and which we handled, and which seems to be pretty cool for a low-end Windows phone. And it looks like the pricing on this sucker at full retail is going to be at $150.
I wish I wish a phone with more clout would have this price point, because right now we've got this this boundary where phones can be as expensive as $800. That's not going to change. Companies love that. And then the cheapest unsubsidized phone that I've ever heard of is, of course, trivia. Anyone?
Oh, the Moto phone?
The Moto.
The Moto phone F1 or whatever it was?
I was going to say the Nexus 4.
Oh, smartphone. I'm sorry.
Oh, outside of this thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the Nexus 4. Yeah.
Yeah. So you know,
Or the
love
pre-2 on Verizon. Sorry, go ahead. It's true. They're fire sale. Go ahead.
Michael, I'm going to be talking to you when I'm 80 years old. We're going to be in the middle of a conversation, and you're going to be like, you know, that was a great experience. Oh, just like the pre-3 on T-Mobile back in the day. You're like, what? What did you just say? You're like, oh, no, nothing. It's just these phones suck.
No, these phones, they don't know how to make a pebble. So what were you saying before I derailed you, Taylor Martin style?
It's awesome to see these prices go down because they set precedents, and right. Maybe more phones will come out at this cheap for unsubsidized because people are, I think, buying a little bit more off contract.
And but Nokia isn't stranger to selling things no contract.
Not at all.
Or relatively cheap. I mean, the Lumia 900 was $440, I think. No contract when it first came out, like the day they launched it was $440.
Well, they had some funny things going on, right, with AT&T, or was that not a carrier thing? Was that retail?
I don't know.
I don't know either. But you're right. Nokia has some experience doing this. But also, what's cool about this being a Windows Phone thing, and yeah, your initial reaction is like, oh, okay, whatever. It's a $150 smartphone, cool, but it's a Windows Phone, and who wants that? But the thing is, Windows Phone 8, because it runs so consistently across all hardware levels. Like, I can't tell you how many... Remember that time that I reviewed, like, 4 mid-range Windows phones in a row? They all responded exactly the same, and they all had pretty much the same guts, and this one doesn't look to be too different. And I've had some hands-on time with it, and it's not too different. It's very responsive. It's very cool. It's always very responsive because it's Windows Phone. It's got a pretty big app store at this point. It's a solid smartphone choice for $150. It's a steal, man. It's great.
I'm not adverse to buying one as like a backup, just in case.
Exactly. I kind of just want to go out and buy it just because it is so cheap. I'm not going to do that, but I would like to do that.
I've done that so many times now that I just can't do it anymore.
Yeah. While we're talking about Nokias and Lumias, Nokia has scheduled a Lumia event for next month. This is probably the biggest news of the Windows Phone week. This is something scheduled for what? 14 London? Yeah, May 14th in London. So that's actually this month. Sorry, it's May 1st. That's in almost exactly 2 weeks. And I think that's exciting. Brandon, maybe you can tell us if anybody is going from Pocket Now, because I genuinely don't know this. Are you flying me out there to cover that?
I guess we'll have to talk about that.
Yeah, maybe we should. It would be really, really awesome. Either way, we're going to cover this remotely or in person. But the thing is, I'm very excited. I think this has a very, very good chance of being that announcement we wanted to happen at Barcelona, but just wasn't the time.
That's a unicorn device, you know it.
You think that EOS is BS? I don't think so.
I don't know. We'll see.
I don't think so. It's not vaporware. Vaporware is not the term because that's something that never actually showed up. What's the intermediate between actual product and vaporware?
Unicorn.
Yeah, but no, it's like with a wear suffix. Anyway,
unicorn wear.
Yeah, maybe we can do one of those Pocket Now Live special editions again, where we all sit around and cover the event remotely and hang out with readers and do that thing. When was the last time we did that? What was that for?
Galaxy S4.
Nice.
Galaxy S4. Yes, that is a good team.
We had laughs while you were watching little Tommy tap dance his toes off.
Oh my god! Can we not talk about that event ever again?
I will always bring that up, just for you.
Thanks. Microsoft wants your help making a better Facebook app. This is funny. Now, Brandon called me out on talking about WebOS too much, so I can't make the comparison I was going to make before, which was another WebOS comparison. But Microsoft has built its own Facebook app in-house. Obviously, for Windows Phone, it is not a Facebook-built app. And now they are crowdsourcing this. They have launched, what is this, a beta program?
You are a software company. Do it yourself.
Wow.
I'm sorry, but you are a software company. Yeah, you made the operating system. You can't make an app.
Did you guys see that Microsoft research product? I went crazy on Twitter and Facebook about it. That projects the environment onto your wall around your TV.
What does it do? Your the environment outside?
No. The environment in your living room. It makes your living room like a gaming scene. You haven't seen this?
No, I gotta tell you, no. Home entertainment systems are not my thing.
No. This is futuristic stuff. I mean, whether you like it or you don't, you're gonna pop a cap.
Whether you like it or you don't, you're gonna like it.
Wasn't it rumored that the 720 would have that built in?
Yeah, the new Xbox, but it doesn't look like it will.
No.
But it might come out in the future. Michael, check either remind me or I'll send it to you, or you can check my Twitter.
I will do that.
This thing, like, if you like amazing technology, this is going to blow your face off. Like,
I do like amazing technology. I do. I want to keep my face. But let's talk about amazing technology in the form of this light field camera. Can we? I feel like, speaking of unicorns, this has been the thing that's been hanging around on the fringes of the mobile space for like ever. I remember hearing about this a couple of years ago, maybe, where light field. Who's behind this? What's the name of the company?
Litro.
Well, Litro, yes, but there's also Pelican Imaging, which is, I think, the company behind the whole thing. I was watching the video right before we came on air. Anyway, Nokia has invested in this industry called light field cameras, and
as well as Apple.
Apple has invested in them as well.
Mm-hmm. Did you guys see that app, Taylor? You might have seen it. That it's an iPhone app that basically does this.
No.
Yeah,
All right. Well, listeners, if you're not familiar with this, what it does is it lets you take a picture that basically captures all the information it needs for all focus levels. So after you take the photo,
fields.
you can change the focus of the photo after the fact, and you can even send it to other people. And that sent copy also contains all the information necessary for them to edit it. So anybody can change the focus level, the focus point of the photo at any time, which is just incredible.
It is and it isn't. Like, the thing, I don't know what Litro is doing, but what this app does is something that's very obvious. It takes multiple pictures. It probably picks 5 focal points, 1 in the center, 2 up top, 2 up bottom, and it works relatively well. And all you need is a little bit of software. And the problem with this app is that it took too long, because it had to take 5 pictures, but did it in like 2 seconds, which is like a long time.
Oof,
So helps to hold still, because what you see a lot of the time is it jumps around
in an HDR shot. Oh man, if you take a picture of like a dog shaking his head, like I did once with an HDR mode, it's
like
terrifying. You have a 2-headed dog hell beast. It's horrible.
Oh, yeah, the old hell beast, huh?
Yeah.
You tell that hell beast to get.
I feel like we're about to start a Wesley Willis song here. I have been thinking about terrifying things recently, but this is an awesome thing. This light field camera could be amazing. I agree, Brandon, that it's like, okay, whatever. Once you disassemble the process, once you understand its underpinnings, maybe it's a little less impressive. But the results, this feels like something. And Taylor, you're right to point out that Apple invested in this, because this feels exactly like something that Apple would chart out at the reveal of a new iPhone. They'd be like, look at this. Isn't this amazing? And you just have to sit there and be like, yes, it absolutely is.
I only know that because I wrote an editorial about it, of course. Back in the day when I wrote editorials 4 times a day.
I don't think that enough people care about this that Apple would build it into a product anytime soon. Most people want to take a good picture. People like me and you and the other guy. I might have. Who knows who I just referred to? By the way,
do you know what
you just forget my name?
Do you know what you could be? Do you know what you could be talking about? Like, if this was 2008, Brandon, I could take your phrasing and apply it to HDR or something else that Apple introduced. I feel like this is tailor-made for something that Apple would introduce to the public. Because think about it: who outside of tech circles knows what Litro is or what light field imaging is?
Not many.
Heck, who inside of tech circles really? I don't know what it is. I just know what it's supposed to do.
Most people, the average user, doesn't even know that there's an HDR function on their camera.
Right.
It's great. It's
or
great
what
to have.
It's for.
What's that?
Yeah.
Or what it's for.
Right. What it's for.
But when go ahead.
So hostile.
I hate you all. You're right, but wouldn't you agree that, like, when Apple made a big deal of HDR, it kind of improved the public consciousness of high dynamic range imaging?
Maybe. But my point is,
Brandon.
Maybe.
Is that what I sound like, Taylor?
I was trying to beat you. But I forgot your name, so I want to address you directly.
I didn't forget your name. I just referred to one of you as you and the other one as you. And I said you and you. And who knows which you I said.
Who knows, really?
So you forgot both of our names. It's cool.
I just found some sweet magnets stuck to my lamp, by the way, in case anybody was interested.
With light field. the I guess selling feature of light field is that most people don't know how to focus their cameras. They don't understand that focus and exposure is based on where you tap in the viewfinder on your iPhone or most other cameras. Mm-hmm. So they hold their camera up and they hit capture, and they're focused on a freaking tree in the background and all the 50 people in the front of the picture blurred.
Yes.
Well, fortunately, and you're totally right, Taylor, that people don't even know that you can tap on your screen to get to focus. Fortunately, if you don't tap on your screen, I think most camera software tries to guess what you're taking a picture of, and it does a pretty good job at it.
Yeah, but especially if there's a face in the shot it can recognize or something like that.
If the faces come out very good. But I think what happens is that people accidentally press the screen and then the tree gets focused, and then you get like these pictures showing up on your Facebook home that are so blurry and crappy, and you're wondering how it happened. And the answer is...
are we supposed to answer? I thought this was rhetorical.
I was coming full circle. See what happened there? Come on, guys.
The answer is the HTC One half.
Is Litro or light field.
The answer is yes.
But
the answer is the octa-core processor.
Here's the problem. Outside of the software with that app, I don't know the name of it. Outside of that, the only way to capture light field is to have this enormous sensor that's an inch thick. That's the problem. That's why I said it's not likely that Apple would do it in the next 2, 3, 4 years. These guys said that they started with a Litro camera that was, I think they said, the size of a room. Because it captures light, not just image information. So they started with that, and they said they can press it down into that 1 inch by 1 inch square that's like 4 inches long, which is the Litro camera. And they said the reason that it's so expensive is because they had to cram so much into that sensor. So that being used in a phone in the near future is highly unlikely. Plausible, but unlikely.
You know, I was having a nice Wednesday. I was feeling good about the future. I was feeling good about maybe where we were going, and now I'm just, thanks,
but maybe you'll get a true pure view Lumia there. Made it better.
Yeah. Anyway, this has been the Pocket Now Weekly. We'll see you later. Taylor Martin. Can we
just killed your dreams?
just pulled the rug out from under me. No, that's good to know, and it's good to be anchored to solid earth by a heavy chain. Thank you. Brandon, have you used Google Now on iOS?
I haven't.
Darn.
Out of laziness, but I had a thought. If you look at how Google Now looks on the iPad, it looks like you're on your desktop. You go to google.com and you see cards. And what I think is going to happen, and I think I read about this a couple of places, maybe that's where I got the idea. I think in the very, very near future, we're going to have Google Now on google.com on your desktop, laptop, whatever. And it's going to be freaking awesome because it's going to finally come full circle now that it's on iOS and it's been on Android. And it's so well integrated into our emails. We got Google reading our emails and all this stuff. It's going to be pretty cool.
I agree. And I really want to see that future realized as well, even though it does push the boundaries of creepy. Once you actually start using Google Now, if you're able to use it in a way that you can let it make itself useful to your life, it's an amazing product. And it's going to be cool to see the next version of that. I think we've said before on the podcast, this is very, very much the future of Google.
Here's my problem with Google Now on iOS.
Yeah.
I use it every single day on Android. All the time. I use it just innately. It happens because it's there. It's integrated with the hardware, and it's automatic. It pops up in my notification shade. It does all sorts of things for me. I have it set up to push to my Pebble when I have important things. So when you go over to the iPad, I have it on my iPad Mini. It's not automatic at all.
Doesn't it have a notification service that pushes notifications?
I don't know. I haven't really used it as much as I probably could have.
I wonder if it does. Would that make it better for you?
I've not checked my notifications on my iPad Mini. I don't use Notification Center, by the way.
Well,
I have not checked it in 20 days, and I have no Google Now notifications, but I have several cards. So I don't know. That would make it a little better, maybe, but the problem is it's not integrated with the hardware. That's what I think makes Google Now so great, is I don't have to search around for it. I hit a hardware key, and I'm there. You can't do that on the iPad. That's the big drawback for me.
Unless you're root, I haven't looked into it, but I'm sure there's some sort of cool thing going on with the root world, or not the root. What do you call it? Jailbreak.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a jailbreak.
Get root.
Actually, you can swap Siri for pretty much anything, so I'm sure it's out there.
I was just going to say it would be a nice Siri replacement, even though I really like Siri.
What? Are you serious?
What? That I really like Siri?
Sorry, I'm being annoying today. I said, are you serious? Get it? That one's for free, guys. No charge.
I love it.
I am jailbroken. I'm going to look for that.
Good. You should look for that. When you do, think about when you will unjailbreak so you can get iOS 7. Because we have some added speculation that is basically the same speculation we've seen all over time and time again. iOS 7 may be flatter, folks.
Dude, that was such a beautiful segue. I couldn't even interrupt that.
You didn't even have the spirit to crush it, did you?
I didn't even see it coming. That was beautiful.
Boom.
That was art.
Well, iOS 7 hopefully will be another form of art, because I think we all agree that Apple has a lot riding on it, and the new build is supposedly being developed under the codename Innsbruck. And I've been lazy. I have not Googled to see what reference that term what clues that term might have within it. And it's said to function in largely the same way. This is rumors coming to us from 9to5Mac, and shouldn't be any more difficult to use. I certainly hope not. I don't see Apple doing any kind of crazy gesture stuff or anything that Windows 8 is doing or anything like that. So we don't really have much new information in terms of iOS 7, but I thought I would drop it in because we don't often have iOS news at this time of the year. And part of the reason for that is because Apple has intimated that we're not going to see any new hardware until the fall. And
Jaime was real salty about that.
Saw that. I saw, and whenever I see a post from Jaime Rivera with the
Steve Jobs image,
with the header image with that font that Jaime loves so much.
Yeah.
I hate that font.
It's basically
it's like rip him about that font.
It's like Jaime cutting his finger and like painting over the screen in blood.
Yeah. In like a fancy way that So Jaime was real bent out of shape about that, and it looks like he got his usual 40 million comments on one of his posts with that. So,
that font is awful.
Did you finally find it? Yeah.
Yes.
God, isn't
it? It hurts my eyes.
See, now I feel bad. Now I got to get Jaime on the show next week or the week after next to talk to him about his font choices.
I'm stingy with my typefaces, and that's bad. No handwriting ever. That's worse than Comic Sans.
It is worse than Comic Sans, isn't it? Because Comic Sans is ironic at this point. Anyway, we're talking about fonts. Basically, I put this in the rundown because I wanted to mention something. We all kind of seem, obviously, Jaime's been out of shape about this. We all want to see new hardware all the time. We're all maybe a little disappointed that we probably aren't going to see new hardware from Apple in the next month or so. But it is instructive to remember just how quickly this industry moves and how maybe not really sustainable in the long term that is. And, we're talking about complaining about a company that is not releasing a new product because the last new product it introduced was when? October? September? Something like that?
We're so whiny. It's just
so
funny.
Complaining. I mean, like, it was seriously significantly less than a year ago that we got a whole new product family in the iPad Mini and the biggest reinvention of the iPhone since the iPhone 4. So, like, we need to kind of shut up for a second and stop whining. And this really is reinforced by my added time with the Lumia 920 yesterday and the day before when I was doing this comparison. And I'm like, but that's the flip side of it, though. Because I'm trying to compare the 920 against the Galaxy S4, and I'm like, these things feel like they're from two different eras in terms of the sensor package, the processor, the display, so many things that the Galaxy S4, which just came out effectively yesterday, packs that the Lumia 920 does not. And so there's that element to it too, where the industry does move quickly enough to where after 6 months you're like, okay, where's the next thing? Come on. And I'm not saying that's healthy or unhealthy. I am saying I don't think it can last forever. But it sure is exciting, isn't it? Deep thoughts. Deep thoughts.
I only respond when people say "in it."
In it.
Isn't it? Well, I can own that word.
It reminds me
Isn't
of my favorite phone review lead-in ever. The Motorola i1 leaked, and it leaked like really hard a couple years ago in the form of some dude at a cell phone store starting his leak video, which was shot on like an iPhone or something like that. With, know what I'm going to do? I'm going to show you this phone. And I have forever wanted to start a video like that ever since I came aboard. So, Brandon, let me know when a phone deserves that treatment, will you?
All right.
Can we get the Motophone F2 in here?
I'm going to start one with this phone's beautiful, isn't it? I have to. I can I let that out on a video?
I feel like
my southern side.
Your southern. Oh, I thought that was your Cleveland voice. You got to just.
Oh no, they're just so similar.
We are going to move into listener mail here, but before we do, we're going to give Brandon his escape hatch because he's got to jump in his ejector seat and go parachute down to somewhere else. So, Brandon, before you go, and I'll remind you at the end of the show, listeners, but tell everybody where they can find you on the internets.
They can find me. My Twitter is @BrandonMiniman. What other things are there that I can tell people?
You don't do Google Plus too hard, and you don't. You're kind of not a public Facebooker. Like I'm not a public Facebooker.
What's with you guys? I'm public everything, always, every.
Yeah, like it's just that weird inner circle, man. I don't let you know if you're not my friend. I don't really let you be my Facebook friend.
Oh, I don't add people on Facebook. It's just public.
Then what's with you?
Yep,
Shut up, Taylor. Yeah. Anyway, find him at Brandon Miniman. He is our editor-in-chief extraordinaire. And what do you have to do? You got to go buy my London plane ticket or what?
I've got to go send both of you a nice big gift.
In the form of an RC helicopter toting an HTC First, right?
Well, actually, I'm going to send the tactile helicopter over your houses.
Oh, thank you, thank you very much.
My neighbor.
So this is what you do. So this is what you do. You get that Barney song. If all the raindrops were tactiles and bomb drops.
I was trying to figure out a way to get in there, and I just go, "Hey, you could make commercials for Samsung."
Yeah.
We didn't get to that story. It's a shame.
Get them kids on the tactile thing.
Yeah. Send me some tactiles. I will appreciate that.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Sorry for being a jerk face, but I do have to hit the eject button now.
Cool,
What
man.
a jerk.
All right. Thank you for joining us. We will talk to you later.
All right. See ya. Bye.
Taylor Martin, you and I are left alone to deal with the specter of a horde of listener mail, which means two pieces of listener mail.
Really quickly,
We're going to read. We actually did get a lot of listener mail. Go ahead. The jailbreak.
The jailbreak now replaces the double press of the home button with Google Search, not Google Now. It takes you straight into a Google Search. Oh! I just Google searched. Oops.
That's kind of weak. Did you just install that now?
Yeah.
Was it on Cydia?
Yeah.
Well,
now one word. I've got to find one that'll do just Google Search, so I can open up Google Now, or not Google Search, Google Now,
Google Plus.
Google Plus.
Let's talk about jailbreaking actually real quick, because William Lee has written in with an interesting question. I wish Brandon was still on to discuss it, but since you, Taylor, also use iOS much more regularly than I do, it is great to have you here. William says, "Hi, I have a question regarding jailbreaking and iOS 7. I'm running a jailbroken 4S and has many extremely useful features installed. Just yesterday, I thought of reusing stock iOS, so I booted into safe mode, and after half the morning, I quit. Things are so dead." All right, so William is kind of bored with the stock iOS, and then I thought of the millions of people who jailbroke, and I wanted to ask, is this a feature on Apple's side? Surely they want a stable OS, but there can always be hidden controls, which are not on by default, while power users can... So basically, William's question is, how can Apple regain the interest of the power user community? And he asks why there's no strong community like CyanogenMod behind iOS. And I think there is, but go ahead, Taylor.
Well, one, because Apple loves to close things down, and jailbreaking is very minor compared to Android hacking and modding. And it's because you're not really changing the software at its core, you're just adding features on and unlocking things that you couldn't do before. Where on Android, you can literally just wipe it and put whatever you want on there. You can put CyanogenMod, you can put a million other custom ROMs on it. Or if you really want to, you could put Ubuntu or Linux or something else on it. So the extent of Android modding and hacking is by nature always going to be more extensive than iOS.
So it is built into the fabric of of essentially what started life as an open OS, and it's debatable how open it still is in its consumer form. But
right. iOS is not open source, so you're never going to have that ability to completely change the software.
And as a result, you're not going to have the widespread culture of modders that an open source platform can provide, just because of the nature of the thing. Yeah.
Right. The extent of the mods are going to be like what I just did. I replaced Siri with Google Search, applying themes, changing icons, and that's really the extent of it. You can't really do anything major, but the lack of I guess marketability to power users is also a fault of Apple's, because they've updated the operating system, but not really in 7 years now? 6 years? 7?
Right.
Oh gosh, it's 6 years.
6 years,
so
yeah.
They really haven't changed anything. They've added the ability to set a wallpaper and put folders on your home screen.
They've
added
notification center that's just ridiculously busy.
It's busy and useless.
Well, I mean, it's not as busy as TouchWiz, or it's not as busy as Android's notification center, but it's just worse. It's undefinably, I just don't like it as much.
The settings application has progressively gotten awful. It is so bad. There's so many things in my settings app. If you have like 30 or 40 applications installed, your settings application is ridiculous.
Yeah, now that's a settings app that could actually legitimately use a tabbed approach or something else.
Yeah, something.
Yeah.
And it's not intuitive either. There are things that are hidden when they shouldn't be. Like they had all of your old, connections, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and all that hidden in the general tab before, and they pulled some of them out, left some of them in general, and it's just like...
Are you talking about iOS still?
Yeah.
What are people doing? Because Samsung did the same thing. They screwed up their settings app completely. There's a My Phone tab in the settings menu. Guess where you go to find your phone number? Not there.
About?
Yeah. No, it's not even under there. It's like, oh my God. You can't find your phone number under the My Phone tab. It's like...
Go into the phone app, go into settings, and...
Yeah, or maybe you can, and maybe I just don't see it. I'm sure we'll get an angry comment from... See, you guys got to stop bashing Samsungs. I don't know.
Go to the dial pound star pound 787987 pound star
codes. Oh, they were great on dumb phones. Anyway... I used to do pound recoding on pound diagnostic menus on the old Samsung phones on Sprint.
I did all kinds of stuff like that on my BlackBerry all the time.
Oh, BlackBerry.
But, yeah, that's how you would enter developer mode and stuff.
Yeah,
in the engineering menus.
It was pound doctor pound 746906 or whatever that was. That's not how you spell doctor, but. That's an awesome question. Thank you for it, and I think Taylor has answered it very succinctly.
Yeah, you're not ever going to get that kind of mod on, or the level of modifications from Android on iOS. Not unless Apple just up and decides, hey, let's go open source, which is never going to happen.
Yeah.
But I really think that the functionality we'll see improve. Maybe not this year, maybe not next year, maybe not the next year. But eventually Apple's going to realize that all of these other software companies are running circles around them in the mobile space as far as functionality goes. And I think they pride themselves in that partially because they're maintaining their roots and their principles that iOS was built on, simplicity. Mm-hmm. But that's at the expense of being able to do some pretty important things from your phone. We're seeing the smartphone evolve very quickly. So the fact that Apple isn't really keeping up with that pace shows that they're actually becoming sort of a BlackBerry or Research in Motion. They are. I mean, think about it. Everybody's asking for change, and they keep doing the same thing over and over. And they're like, "We're changing. We're getting better. We're improving." But really, they're not. Mm-hmm. So this update. Okay, so say they do go flat. It'll look great, but really, what's changed? They're going to ooh and ah people over the look of it, and not really change the functionality. That's my prediction. They might add some OS 10 features I imagine they'll probably add something else that they added, but the movement that we've seen from Apple in the past 2 years is that they're merging OS X and iOS, or at least not the operating systems themselves, but the experience between them, the connection.
They absolutely are, and iOS is definitely taking point on kind of pushing them forward. I mean, their war on the file system is continuing.
But they're drawing more features from iOS into OS X than they are features from OS X into iOS.
Absolutely, because of that very thing. Because that's what they see the future as, is iOS, not OS X necessarily.
Well, if that were the case, they'd be doing it the other way, wouldn't they? They'd be bringing OS X features into iOS, but they're not. They're doing it the other way. They brought Notification Center into OS X.
Right. No, but I think the reason they're doing that, I think, is to gradually acclimate the desktop user to the mobile experience, so that when they switch to a more hybridized device, you see where I'm going with that.
Yeah. I understand now. It's just...
Yeah, we are going to make up for all the kind of lack of Apple talk over the past few months on the podcast when we have something new and fresh to talk about. And I'm frankly excited. I intend to petition Brandon for the chance to have a close look at some of this iOS hardware, because I've never reviewed an iOS device for Pocket Now, and I would like to.
I'll tell you this. I love the iPad mini. It's one of my favorite devices. The display is absolutely awful. I hate it so much.
Yeah. Well, we've talked about it. Yeah.
I hate the display so much, but the device itself is so great that I keep using it.
See, I love the display on my iPad 3, but every time I'm laying in bed and I drop it on my nose, I have to go to the hospital.
Yeah, the display on that is pretty nice. But after using, I have a Nexus 10 and an iPad mini, and the Nexus 10, oh my gosh, the display is amazing.
You have a Nexus 10?
I do. Yeah, it's Pocket Now's.
Maybe send me that. Anyway.
Well, I was supposed to do the After the Buzz, but that kind of fell through.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to one last piece of listener mail, and then we gotta close out here, because I need more coffee. Desperately.
I've had 2 cups this morning, so I'm extremely jittery right now.
I've had one big Dunkin' Donuts bucket of iced coffee, and it feels good, but it's not enough, because I stayed up too late watching Mad Men.
I got a Keurig for my birthday. Mm-hmm. I've been chugging coffee, trying all the new flavors.
Yes. Oh, a Keurig machine. Anyway, we have to get to this last piece of listener mail. I love you. I'm glad that you got a Keurig machine, because
it's amazing. I wake up and my coffee is ready, within a minute. It's amazing.
Khalid Al-Swoya has written to us again, and it's always nice to hear from our repeat writers. And I should have said that about William as well. Khalid says, I have a decent point-and-shoot camera, which I got 1.5 years ago for around $250. For your information, it's a Sony DSC-WX7. I'm using this camera today, and it still blows my Galaxy S3 camera out of the water. As expected, absolutely. Dedicated point-and-shoot will do that. Khalid says, I saw the Galaxy camera. I liked it, but it got decent color production and $400 to $500 price point for the Wi-Fi model. Seriously? Is the Galaxy camera making any success that it will pave the way for more Android-powered cameras? Good question. I picked this piece of reader mail because we haven't thought about the Galaxy camera in a while, even though one is sitting right in front of me, and it is in every one of my videos because it's one of my background props. I think we will definitely see more Android cameras. I do not think that it will. I think it will take a while for these devices to become the booming sub-industry that some of these manufacturers want, and I'm really not completely convinced that they can interact alongside smartphones with ever increasing coexist with better cameras on smartphones, is I guess what I'm saying. I don't know. You get into the photography field and I start losing a bit of expertise because I'm such a regular old Joe as far as that goes. But what do you think, Taylor?
Well, this morning there was the Sony, I guess it's Honami Cybershot camera phone. It was leaked.
What?
Yeah, it's got its sensor isn't quite as large as the 808 PureViews.
Geez, it's a big day for leaks, huh?
Yeah. So.
That was yesterday, I guess.
Or PureView 808. I always say that backwards. But,
yeah, me too. No, 808 PureView. This is the correct way to say it.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So you got it right.
Confused.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's backwards.
I got it wrong once.
So that's why it's weird. Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
So, it's... I don't know. in regards to the question, I would say that yes, we'll see more Android-powered cameras, but no, we won't see many improved Android-powered cameras, and that's because Android itself is a limiting factor in image sensing. Android itself, and it's the chipset that they use. It's the compression that they have to use in order to produce these high-quality images. I don't know the fine details. I've read up on it and looked into it, but the compression from any Android, it's built into the operating system. And I don't know if you can with the Galaxy camera. You might know this. Do you know if you can manually change the shutter speed on the Galaxy camera?
I do not think that you can. You can change the exposure, the white balance, the ISO, and I don't think you can change shutter speed.
Yeah, that is one of the biggest problems with Android in terms of image sensing is all of the shutter speeds are manually coded into the software. You can't physically change those. They change based on exposure levels, but you can't change that. And that's one reason that low light isn't that great on Android. You have to, I guess, counteract it with either a better light intake, ultra pixel, for example, and all kinds of other things. Right. There's no, there's so many things about Android that limits. Yeah, there's so many things about Android that limits image sensing itself.
Yeah. No, I completely agree, and that's one of the things that I've been very frustrated with on basically every smart device is like, why can't I manually set my exposure time? Can you do that on any smartphone? Can you do that on the iPhone?
Yeah, you can do it on the iPhone.
You can change the exposure time on the iPhone?
Yes, that's what I was trying to tell you guys. When I said that the iPhone can take pretty good low light images, even pure view, like 920 quality, and it's not the exact same because with the 920 you can just hold it up, take a picture at night, and you don't really have to worry about being super stable. Right. With the iPhone, if you hold the shutter open longer, then you're going to have to prop up on something or use a tripod.
Right, because the iPhone doesn't have the optical image stabilization.
Right, so it's possible that you can just through one little app. There's an application called Camera FV5 for Android, and it says that you can open the shutter longer, that you can do long exposures. You can do long exposures, and you can keep the shutter open longer. That's quoted. I'm holding up my fingers making quotations right now.
That works on an audio podcast.
Yeah. Just trying to give you some visualization. You can't, though.
You can't.
The function is in the app, but you can't actually do it. What it does is it takes a bunch of pictures, right, and tries to take the information from those several pictures. It superimposes all of them and tries to brighten the image artificially.
So it's like super HDR.
Like super HDR, except for everything is taken at the exact same exposure level.
Right. So
what happens is you get clearer images, but you don't get brighter images. Right. So if you took a picture in the
darkness.
Yeah. If you take a picture in the dark, you get this muddy, blurry, noisy image.
Right.
You take a picture with this, you get this slightly more sharp, muddy, blurry really dark image.
Right, because it's dark. Yeah, right.
Yeah. And you don't get any more light. That's the whole reason that you hold the exposure or the shutter open longer.
Sure. Right, and that's what I want to be able to do. And I completely agree that's. I think that was one of my big disappointments, if I'm remembering correctly, about the Galaxy camera, where I was like, oh wow, this is really cool. Oh, maybe I can finally change my exposure time. Oh no, I can't.
Nope.
And there's that. But yeah, go ahead. Are we still in the question, answering the question territory?
One more thing. I can't let this podcast go. I can't let it go.
I want to go.
I need to go.
I'm the host too. I gotta. Yeah. Go
ahead. You will not leave this podcast. The Galaxy camera, another thing is that you still see the compression that you see on Android phones, the artifacts that wouldn't normally be there on any other point-and-shoot camera. So I had a similar camera to Khalid. I had a very similar, it was a Cybershot
matter what it was.
From a few years ago. And it would take some really great pictures. I loved it. I sold it to a reader. Because I upgraded to the NEX5N or C3 at the time. But it took great pictures. And there really wasn't any artifacts. There was noise. There's always going to be noise in a lower-end camera. and artifacts, but it's just not to the same degree as you see with the Galaxy camera. It's like a fake bokeh. Like it's really awful, and you see that on every Android phone. Like
So
the
you're saying-
defocusing isn't real defocusing; it's like software enhanced focusing or defocusing.
So you're saying that in order for us to see a future in Android-powered cameras like the Galaxy camera, this weird product hybrid category that doesn't really have a name, I don't think, we're going to have to see something, a much stronger offering than the GC100, this first pass of the Galaxy camera, right?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll need Google to actually put a lot of effort and time into image sensing.
Right.
Before we really see a major improvement in image sensing. Because look at all the Android phones and the iPhone that all use the same Sony sensor.
Yeah.
But what phone gets all the notoriety for having a better camera? The iPhone.
Generally the iPhone, yeah.
Right. And it's because there's so many software optimizations. Apple just honed in on that and just made it perfect.
And they keep
Apple,
pushing it with their latest ads, too. Yeah, it's like more photos are taken with the iPhone every day than with any other device.
And with Android phones, you get these manufacturers who they put a little time into the camera software.
Some of them put a lot of time in it. Samsung throws a ton of features in. To the Galaxy S4.
That's what I'm saying. They throw a ton of features in, but they don't necessarily focus on getting the color reproduction perfect,
right?
Or the exposure and white balance and everything else exactly perfect.
You know, I don't think they have to. I don't think that needs to be there. You see, consumers are very impressed with a lot of Android smartphone cameras, especially if those Android smartphone cameras are attached to an Android smartphone with an AMOLED display or something that's really going to blow out the color on the screen.
Oh yeah,
that's all you need to do to impress most consumers. That's
and then you move it over to your computer and you're like, oh,
right. But I think with most consumers, and this is not me calling like everybody stupid, but I think what happens when you see that image on your device first, if you're a regular person, you're like, wow, that's beautiful on this screen. Oh my God. You send it to yourself on your computer, and I feel like most people, maybe there's a mental trick that happens, and they carry that impression of like, this is a beautiful picture over to looking at it on the monitor. And I don't know if most people see the difference. I really don't.
Most probably don't. It's not a big difference to the untrained eye.
Exactly. So I don't think that manufacturers I don't think there's that pressing need right now to improve camera quality to the degree that, of course, we would like to see.
Need? Maybe not. Should? Yes.
It would be nice, yes. But Kelly, I am not sure about the future of this product category, but that's a really awesome question, and thank you for sending it in. And Taylor, thank you for your well thought out response.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
I wrote an editorial about the Galaxy camera right when it was announced, and I said that, it's kind of foreboding and kind of bleak foretelling for the future of Android cameras and smartphones Android smartphones with cameras. It's just like it shows the Galaxy camera enhances and amplifies all the problems that you see with Android camera, like smartphone cameras, on a larger scale.
Yeah,
throw in a bigger sensor and a camera, a device dedicated to taking pictures, and they're okay.
Right.
Yeah,
agreed.
You can get a cheaper point and shoot, as Khalid is saying, a cheaper point and shoot camera, a much cheaper, half the price, if not less, and it takes better pictures.
There you have it.
That's because it runs Android, and the software optimizations just aren't there. Thank you, Google.
The Super Carolina Smackdown.
Bam.
The bottom line from Taylor
I've been throwing bombs today. Microsoft, develop your own app. Stop asking consumers to develop an app for a software company.
Boom. Number two in a minute.
Haymakers.
And by the way, what's with this new corn liquor? I don't like it. Listen, I think we have to wrap it up, Taylor, because we've got more stuff to do. I've got to churn out some more content, and I know that you do as well.
Yeah, I'm 2 days behind, and it's the third day in the week.
Yeah, tell me about it. Yeah, I feel the same way. But for now, thank you for joining me, Taylor, and that is going to do it for episode 42 of The Weekly. Visit us on Twitter Brandon Miniman is at Brandon Miniman. Taylor is at Casper Tech. And as always, you can find me at Captain Two Phones. Follow Pocket Now officially at Pocket Now on Twitter, as Pocket Now on Facebook and Google+. Leave us a review on iTunes or Xbox Music if you enjoyed the podcast. That is really important to us. And if you have a topic or question for the podcast or you just want to say hello, email us podcast@pocketnow.com. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll see you next week.
What?